dashboard. Earlier, it was using built on the Envoy system, and now it has been integrated in with the data coming in from the Civica system as well. And current, so I'll just share my screen and I'll start off. So if so these after completing every page, I can open up for if you have any questions or not. So yeah, this is the first. Just Yeah, this is the first page of the dashboard where the primary function of this is to analyze the core questions which were in the survey. So, for example, how was your overall experience of our service? So, on the left-hand side, you have all the key metrics in terms of like total responses, meaningful responses, percentage positive, percentage negative, and percentage unsure. So anyone using the dashboard at first would not be sure of what these metrics actually mean. So we do have a help button provided here. So if you click on the help button here, it would describe what these metrics actually means. For example, total responses are the total number of responses, whereas the meaningful ones are just out of the total responses, how many are not invalid or blank. Sometimes they don't answer a question, so only the meaningful responses are mentioned here. Positive responses are that fall under the category of strongly agree, very good, good, etc., based on your core question. I think I hear some. Okay, sorry about that. And for as far as negative responses, again, it will be strongly disagree, disagree, poor, very poor, etc. And unsure are those falling under the the neither good nor poor, or neither agree nor disagree, or don't know, those categories. So you can close the help. So in this dashboard, we have these major metrics covered, and on adjacent to it, we have the trends for those metrics. And depending on your question, you can see how the answers are split by how the responses are there. So for example, overall experience, here you have good, very good, neither good nor poor, etc. All the splits are given here. And on the corner, this chart is a chart which is divided by team level. So each dot here represents a particular team or a service. So how we analyze this chart is like we have the positive responses on one axis and the total number of responses on the other axis. So ideally, a team which has a lot of positive response and a lot of total response would be in the top corner, and that's ideally where you want your team to be, because some teams may have just one positive response and they only have like one total response, so they'll fall under this lower corner. So if I maybe select a particular directorate here, and I can see all the teams under falling under this Luton Mental Health Directorate and how they are performing in terms of total responses for this particular core questions. So this team here has like around 300 responses, of which only like 70% is like positive, whereas this group here has around 127 responses, of which 90 are like positive. So you can easily distinguish which teams are not getting enough responses or which teams are not getting positive responses in spite of having so many responses. And you can check another, maybe another um, directorate, and you can see how the teams are faring in terms of that. This can also be done for a different question. So for example, if you want to see the safety related question, so this is something new which came up recently, and so I feel safe to raise concerns about my care. And so we only have data starting December because it's a new data set, I mean a new question which came up, and you can see how the teams are faring, and you can also see that the responses are pretty low. And you can easily identify which are the wards, I mean in services, which are doing well in terms of responses and all that. Or you also have the option to do analyze it for a particular time period. So for example, you just want to look at let's say 2023 data, so you can click on 2023 Jan 21st. sorry, Jan 1st till like December 31st. So the entire dashboard sort of filters it out for that particular time frame as well. So you can get extract data for like specific months and all that. So this is primarily the use of the first page of the dashboard. It will give you team-wise analysis, trends, and the important metrics related to the core questions in the survey. Yep, I'll stop there if you have any questions based on this page. Yes, Janine.
It's actually Gemma, but yeah, go ahead, Gemma. Yeah, hello. My name's Gemma. I'm the performance lead for Tower Hamlets CHS. I've just got a quick question. Are you able to drill through on that total responses team level?
Not in this page. So we do.
Because of we have, like obviously you must know, there's multiple teams per service within each directorate. Would you be able to add the filter at the top so we can drill down on a team level?
We can, you can. So we have the option here. We can search for your, you can,
Yeah,
basically
that's the
select.
service. So we could have, say, we've got 8 teams within the same service, and we want to look at a team level.
Mm, okay, I might need to get back to you on that
Yeah.
because I'm not sure if we are capturing at a team level. So my understanding is that this is basically an extract. So whatever team name they have given it in that extract would be displayed here. So, I mean, if you're looking for a particular team, I can check if that team name exists here. If not, I can check if that data is captured anywhere in the survey.
Okay. Yeah. It's just in community services, team level and service level are two different things. So we might need both.
Okay, so I
Thank you.
think then that might be an app specific thing. So it might be only for the community services that we might need to modify that. Correct? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I'll just check with my team here and get back to you on that if we can, modify it accordingly. Yeah. Anyone else has any question? Okay, in that case, I'll move on. Even if you have any questions, we'll can have it at the end. So moving on to the next page, this is purely like a statistical analysis page. We have all the SPC charts here for every of the identified core questions. So I know that there are some new questions which are, these are all the older version of the question, but if you, there is an option to view the new questions as well, starting in which came up after December 2023. So, and anyways, we can do the same bit of analysis here. We can analyze it by a particular directorate, or if you want a particular service, or if you want just 1 year of data, a year-wise analysis of the data. No other drill down like options are here. It's just a pure statistical analysis page. This one. So yeah, that's about the trends page. Next, we can move on to the demographics page where a lot of these questions are there. And so the main role is like we can actually analyze each question by its demographics, how the responses has been. So for example, if I am looking at the overall service experience, click on that, I can actually see how that split is percentage wise, and orange indicates negative, blue indicates positive, and gray indicates unsure responses. So it's the total percentage of responses split into these three categories, as we have explained in the first page. That is, positive is strongly agree, very good, and all, and negative is like strongly disagree. So it's the same metric. uh, since these demographic questions are not mandatory, you may find a lot of NAs or null values here because some people may not have provided that information, some of the respondents. So that's why we do have a lot of NAs here, or the value is not available. Yes, Robert.
Is there an easy way to see the questions split by demographic like this? that also gives you a better visual understanding of the demographic breakdown as well. I'm not really sure how to describe this, but like it's hard to see what the different proportions of different demographic groups answering are. Like from looking at this, unless you mouse over, it's hard to tell how many respondents from each group have answered the question. Is there an easy way to get a visual read of that while also analyzing the question?
Okay, so we do have a page for the counts view, which I'm just getting towards next, where we can actually see here we are showing the percentages, and next is if you click on here, it will show you the individual counts as well, not just the overall percentage view. And also there is a page called a detail page, which I'll explain next, where you can actually analyze any question you want in terms of the count. Is that response clear? Or
That
maybe
is
if I
exactly what I was looking for. That's perfect.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, okay. Yeah, thank you. So I'll just give some specifics. So, for example, if you're analyzing it percentage wise and you want to see how the overall experience question has been answered by the age group of 85 plus, for example, if you click on 85 plus, the entire dashboard sort of filters out for 85 plus category and how they have answered, how they're under the 85 plus category, how's the ethnicity split like, what is the religion split like, and what their sexual orientation split is like, and gender split is like. So it kind of enables you to do like cut across different demographics and understand the data more. If you go to the counts view, you kind of see the proportion of how many not available values are there, because people are not, it's not a mandatory field, so people may not prefer giving out their details as well. So um, yeah, so here you can see the actual count where the actually how many missing values are. So, I mean, in the long run, if we get more people, providing these values, this might provide us a more comprehensive analysis in terms of all these questions. So, even if you want to look at a percentage of, Asian Black, Asian British, and and you want to look at, let's say, uh, you want to look at multiple demographics, so you can press the control key on your keyboard and click on them. That is also possible, once you click on age and you want to just see the white people in the age group of 65, you can then click on white as well. So the dashboard is filtered according to different clicks we do. You can also see, it is also possible for you to select a particular question and then say you just want to see who answered very poor, how the demographics is like. So you can click on very poor and you see the split accordingly. So all the you can basically slice and dice this data in various ways, like by clicking on different bars or segments of a bar and seeing, like, if you want to just see the males who have answered positive, you can just click on the blue bar here and it will kind of like filter the dashboard just for the males percentage who has answered it positive. So you can easily see, like, of the 82% males who have positively responded to the overall service experience, 31 of them are like white, 43 are like Asian and Asian British category. um, some 42% of those are like 85 plus category and so on. So a lot of slicing and dicing can be done, and you can also have the same view in counts format as well. All right, so that is basically the demographics page. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll quickly move on. If there are no further questions here, I'll move on to the detail page, which is again similar to the demographics page. Only thing is you can select any question you want. Like there might be like very specific questions you want to look at, which are not falling under the category of core questions. So for example, let's say, or there might be like very you know specific questions to your team. So for example, based on the survey, so here you have the option to select a particular survey. So if I click on patient experience survey, that's the survey name which is sent out, and you can basically see all the questions that fall under that particular survey. And if you you know um, Yeah, this question I was given all the information I need about my care and treatment that is specific to the survey. Sometimes these surveys may have the same question, but they may be worded differently as well. So, if you want to see this, you can basically get that information for that particular question here based on a survey or a particular question. In fact, you can also, if you have a keyword, like you're not sure of what the exactly the question is, you can in fact search for a question here. So for example, if it is, let's say you want to see the safety question, so you can just search for the word safe here. That will list down all the, questions with the word safe in it. Yep. So you can then click on it and then see the split, and you can also see how each response is here. So this is more like a very detailed page just to, if you want to see any specific question pertaining to any specific survey, uh, you can use this page to basically get that information. So yeah. And again, the other filters work here. Like for example, you have the directorate service and also the time filter, the date filter, sorry. Yeah, any questions on this page? All right, if there are no questions, I think we can quickly move on to the last part of our the new service user dashboard, where so far we have analyzed all our questions which has a categorical answer. Like for example, um, in a Likert scale, like strongly agree, agree, all those kind of answers. Now this page is where we have analyzed all the text answers. Like for example, uh, we are fully analyzing the feedback comments, what could you to the questions like, what could we do better to our service and all that, where the respondents have given answer in a free text format, like they've just typed out the answer. So we did something called as a natural language analysis to these text answers, where we analyzed it, and we had data spanning almost 3 years, starting from 2019 or 2020, I think. And we analyzed all the data to come up with some of the topics which has been identified in these feedback comments and improvement feedbacks and improvement opportunities. So basically whatever the respondents have given us, and we basically categorize it into different topics based on this natural language analysis. And we also did something called a sentiment analysis. So I'll just briefly explain what that is. So for example, for every feedback, we assigned something called as a sentiment score, which is nothing but a value between -1 and 1. -1 indicates that it's a highly negative comment. Like for example, someone, says some very bad things about a particular service or give a bad feedback, that has a score ranging in the negative area. And if it is positive one, it indicates that it's a very good comment, like a very positive feedback. And 0 is somewhat neutral. So if they say like, they have nothing to say, it's like a neutral comment. So that's how briefly how sentiment analysis work. So for all these particular text feedbacks, we analyze the sentiment score over time as well, which you see in this graph. And here the positive responses are those which has a positive sentiment score, and negative are those having a negative sentiment score. And these topics are all visualized in a way that the size of the word indicates that particular topic has more responses. So for example, a lot of these comments are feedbacks were falling under the category of staff. So that can be like something related to staff, and then appointments, and then discharges, hygienes. These were some of the topics we identified. This chart here in the center shows the for each topic how is the sentiment like, whether it's negative, neutral, or positive. And similar to our first page, we have a score by service as well, where we divide the scores. Each dot represents a service and their average sentiment score. And we have a number of responses as well to give you an understanding of how many responses each service received in that time frame. So one way of doing an analysis is like, let's say you want to see related to hygiene, what are the, feedbacks. You can then see all the feedbacks that were closely related to the topic of hygiene. So, cleanliness, better cleaning standards. These are some of the feedbacks we received. And if you want to see some negative, you can, yeah, you can basically see some of the negative feedbacks that were received earlier on in that particular hiding. So in this way, you can easily, see, analyze these feedbacks, and if there is something very, catchy and all that, you can take actions accordingly to, improve it, or, you know, so make some changes based on the feedback. So this will give you like a better way of analyzing these text responses uh, based on particular topics. And some of the we have some good feedbacks received for staff and all that. Found the service really helpful, the service is great, so that all falls under the positive category. And yeah, that is one way of analyzing it, and identifying some negative feedbacks, and doing suggestions on improvements for the particular wards or areas of improvement, and etc. So this will help you to analyze it that way. You can also analyze it by a particular service, and you can see the sentiment score over time as well. So if it is, declining below zero, it indicates that a lot of negative responses has been received over time. The other way is to analyze it by a sentiment score by a service. So if you scroll down, if you use this slider here, you can basically filter it out for then based on number of responses. So on an average, let's say we are analyzing the first 1,000 responses. So all the services which have received 1,000 or less than 1,000 responses, and their sentiment scores has been listed here. So this particular service here has like around 900 responses, but their average sentiment score is like 0.11 in the positive side, which is, good. But here they have less responses, and they have a score of 0.46. As you go here, like some of the services may have only like one or two responses, and that might like shift their average score higher. So that's how this chart works. And you can in fact, select particular dots, and it will filter the entire chart for the feedbacks received for that particular service. So each dot here is a service. So you can click here and filter the chart. So the functionality is very flexible here in terms of how you want to do the analysis, whether you want to do it by a particular service or particular topic, and drill down to what drill down to like a particular area where it needs improvement, and etc. And we have also some of these feedbacks did have people names mentioned, so we have also tried to mask out people names, so that the no personal identity of the person working in the wards are like revealed in these dashboards which are accessible. So yeah, so that's it about this main page. So any questions?
Yes, please. I've just put something in the chat actually with bad spelling. I've just looked at my own service and looked at some of the negative comments, and actually some of the negative comments are positive ones. So I'm just wondering how the data gets analysed and gets checked for accuracy and reliability.
Okay, so one of the things about this is a data language model. So basically, each language model has a certain bit of accuracy. So for example, if you have 10 positive comments, this model kind of like, predicts what the score is and analyze it based on that. And, it gives out a sentiment score, and it will put it into a topic. So some of the aspects, like there might be, the sentence might be big, and it can have mixed sentiments in that, but it will just weigh out based on an algorithm, so and then give out the final sentiment score. So yeah, as you said, the accuracy is, it is something which will improve on time. So this is basically like a initial version of the model. And we are planning to update this dashboard monthly. So each time we refresh that, because for this language model to work, we need like some good amount of responses. Like for example, if there are like We had like around 70,000 responses in the last 3 years, which were put into this analysis. And, every month, I think we are receiving an average of, 400, 500 responses. That's what, well, in the last 2 months we have received. So that accuracy is something which will improve over time because it's a language model and it can, sometimes go either way as well. So, yeah. Yes.
So, oh, sorry. Are you going in? Are you going to say something, Sarah?
No, sorry, finished.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Is that does that answer your question, Sarah? Sorry about that.
I suppose it does answer it in understanding there's some kind of, algorithm going on, but in terms of accuracy, I would say most of the negative comments on my screen for my service it isn't accurate at all. So it's kind of a little bit worrying that people might be looking at this and perceiving negative comments when they're actually positive. But I understand it's a new process and things need to develop over time. But who would we raise that with so that you can do the learning? Or is it an automatic algorithm learning?
So it's basically like, we run this language model every month and we get the data and we put it on the dashboard. So yeah, so maybe, what you see here next month, the values might be entirely different because based on the feedback you receive and all that, the model, when they run when we run the algorithm, we might get a different score altogether. So
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, anyways, we'll definitely, you can maybe, send me an email after this so I can take a look into that as well.
Okay,
Maybe,
that'd be
there's
great.
something, yeah, because it's very, this data science project is very in a very initial stage. So
Yeah,
there might be issues which will come up definitely because even when you're doing the other work, there are a lot of defects we encounter and when we try to fix that. So if you find anything, just send me an
thank
email.
you.
We'll definitely take a look at it. Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's also one more thing because not many people have started using this dashboard, and I'm sure like once you start using it, there'll be like a lot of defects and all coming in as well. So yeah, yeah. Someone else had a question.
Yeah, I've got a question. You just mentioned that this was like the first draft, and there might be some defects. My colleague looked at the Tower Hamlets Community Health Services dashboard, and we've got like one of the teams listed is not applicable, and that's showing for about a fifth of our responses for last year. Is coming up as not applicable, but all our Prem surveys are linked to a specific service. So there might be an error in the system, but do you want me to email yourself or is there a generic email that I need to send an email to?
You can maybe email it to me because that is okay. That might be because some of the services may change their names and it might not be, reflected in our system, and it might, go as unmapped. So that is a common occurrence when team names change or a new team comes in. They might not, be reflected in our system. So I'll take a look at it. You can send me an email. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Just to flag that there was a question in the chat around how often the dashboard's updated, and you've said it's monthly.
Yeah,
that right?
yeah. So basically, so currently, I think in our actual app, this data is updated till December 31st. So we are working currently on an upgrade to the update to the dashboard because of the new system. We have had to make a few changes because of the new data coming in. So it's still some of these features are still being, in development. They were just testing it out. So the dashboard you saw here will be like planning to deploy it at the end of the month. So you'll have data until Feb 2024. So as for the Teams pages where we do the natural language analysis, when we are fully functional, it will be updated monthly for now. And for these pages, it's a direct feed. So basically, it should update every day. So basically, all the first 4 pages will be updated daily, and the 2 pages that where we do the natural language analysis would be updated monthly. So you would have data. So when you look in March, you'll have data until Feb 28th. When you start looking in April, you have data until March 31st. That is the plan going forward. Yeah.
Thanks, Arjun. That's really helpful.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I do have another one. Sorry, it's Sarah again.
Yeah.
I attended some training for the Civica training. I
Mm.
just wonder how this works alongside that, or does this mean that we don't use Civica, we just use the BI data?
So
Uh,
I can answer
Yeah.
that. So Civica is the survey platform. So that's where we deploy the surveys from, and that supports us with all of the sort of accessibility and translations options. When it comes to visualizing data, I think you can use either. However, we're hoping that this Power BI dashboard will provide pretty much everything that you need, and hopefully helps with this sort of triangulation of data, because teams will often have other forms of data on Power BI, and so you can view it all in one place. You are still welcome to use Civica. I think as we sort of we're sort of encouraging everybody to sort of embrace the Power BI dashboard, and then yeah, I guess we can, it depends what you need it for, but if you have any queries around the functionality of either sort of specifics, then just contact us in QA and we can support you with that.
Lovely, thank you, that's really helpful, thanks.
And yeah, I'm sure like once you all get access to it, we you can start using the dashboard, and we do have a portal to share your feedbacks, or if you have any particular concerns regarding the data. We have provided a link to that where you can provide your feedback, so we'll definitely take care of it if there are any issues or data mismatches and etc and anything. So yeah. Fine. If there are no more questions, maybe we can end this call. And yep, if you do not have access, please drop a message in the chat box. So I can even in the last training session, there were a few who did not have access. So I'm planning to give you all access at once. So once our workspace admin was on leave this week, so he'll be back in office next week, so I can get it done by next week. So yeah. Any other questions? Please feel free to contact me or my team. All right. Yeah. Well, I think that is it from my end. If it's
Great, thank you so
yeah,
much, Arjun. That was really helpful.
yeah,
Hopefully it was helpful for everyone else. Found it quite helpful. If there was anything that wasn't covered, or once you get access, if you have
yeah,
any questions, you can contact Arjun or contact me or the QA team, and we'd be more than happy to support, because we're really keen for this dashboard to be as helpful as possible, to be a sort of one-stop shop for all of your team's data. So cool.
yeah.
Any questions before we leave? Perfect. I can see
Thank
we've got
you.
some emails in the chat, so
Yes, I'll make a note of it. So yeah, we
great.
can. Yeah.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.